Oh, good. Hello, how are you?
I'm good, just trying to survive the heat in the summer.
Where are you?
Wisconsin, Wisconsin.
Oh my gosh. Mm-hmm. I just got back from Texas and it was crazy hot.
Yeah, it's like a huge heat wave everywhere. I mean, I have one of my friends who's done is very into weather or meteorology. But hey, Kat, by the way, you don't have a thunderstorm warning now, more of like a strong wind warning, but the heat index is still high. But thank you for the weather report.
Oh, so good. So good.
Yeah. Well, Marta, I wanted to say thank you for finding the time in the schedule and everything to come on the Cat Jack podcast to talk about your latest movie.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I was adjusting my camera. Can you see me okay or am I sideways now?
Okay.
How is that? Is that okay?
Yep,
Okay. Sorry. Technical difficulties.
definitely. Well, I had a pleasure of talking with Valeria, who played Lucia in the movie like Trade Sisters, and we should have a really nice, heartfelt conversation about the movie. Because when I had Adam on, he was just raving about you ladies and how
Oh,
long it took for you guys to make this movie.
yeah.
So I wanted to have an opportunity to try, get all of the ladies on, and hopefully Crystal to talk about the experience of making that movie.
Yes, and don't worry, we're going to help you. We're going to send Cristo this podcast so that he can hear it, he can see it. He loves promoting the film. He's very proudly one of our executive producers, and with his company Spectro Films. So he's very proud of it. He loves to talk about it, and also he has so much happening right now. I'm sure you would be able to have so many fans be appreciative that you had him on. So well, don't worry. We're gonna help you. We're gonna try to get him on for you.
Thank you, you and Ballerina, but we're gonna get you. I did not really expect that, but okay, and then crack. Because I am huge on him when it came to Ted Lasso. I was
Oh
like,
my God.
wait a minute. And I looked up,
Wait,
I was like, what? I have another TV series with Krista.
wait. Listen. Can you imagine us
Lasso. Yeah,
working with him?
I know. I can't
Like
imagine. I
we
mean, he must
I
be a
was a
great
huge
person.
fan already, and then when we found out that he might be attached to our film, we got extremely excited, and when he said yes, I remember I hadn't gotten a chance to meet him yet, and I was at our where I was staying at the house. I had my two kids with me, and it was before we started filming, and I was in my PJs. The kids were going crazy, and I was watching episodes of Ted Lasso in my room, and I hear a knock on the door, and I was like, "Adelante," because that means come in Spanish, and he opens the door and he's like, "Hi, Marta." I was like, "Oh," because I was looking at him on the screen, and then him at the door, and then him at the screen, and then him at the door, and I'm like in my pajamas. I thought, "Yes, that's me. I'm Marta."
So funny. So I can't have wait to have an opportunity for all of you because I wanted to get each of your story and your perspective of this movie like Trade Sisters. So before we get into all of that, I'm curious, how did you get into acting? Was it something involved in wanting to do?
Oh my gosh. It was, I started off just doing it for fun because my family, I'm half Costa Rican, and on my mother's side, when we were living in Costa Rica when I was very young, I was surrounded by artists. My grandmother was a writer, a poet, an artist, and she loved to perform comedy. And she was also a school teacher. School teacher by day, artist all the other hours. And the rest of our family, we have clowns, flamenco dancers, jazz musicians. And so I was surrounded by art, and it was just something that you did. For me, I thought, well, what do I like doing? I like singing and I like performing. And so when we have these big artist nights, I would perform for them. And so throughout my years, I always just did it on the side. There was community theater or a competition in school, and it was just something that I would fall into. A teacher would push me into it. Also, they'd like, you would make a good actor. And I never thought of it as a career. But when I was 19 in college, I went to college at the University of Texas in Austin, hook 'em horns. I felt like I wasn't fully passionate about my degree, which was public relations. And I decided to look at, because back then we weren't looking at the internet for ads. We had newspapers. And I opened up the back of the newspaper to the ads, and I saw a musical that was holding auditions. And I decided to go. And I went just very naively. I didn't have a song prepared. I didn't have anything. I just knew I wanted to go. And I ended up booking the lead role. And that made me realize that it was something that I wanted to pursue full time. I didn't change my degree, but I got an agent, I got into acting classes, and I thought I would just do it from Austin, Texas. But then I booked a role that got me a film in theaters that called Believe in Me with Jeffrey Donovan and Bruce Dern. And then I decided to move over to Los Angeles. And so that was the trajectory. It was something I always did for fun because it brought me joy. And then yeah, it started to become a professional career when I was 19.
Was there another career in the mind of acting or musical that didn't work out?
Well, in college, the PR degree that I was pursuing was very new for the College of Communications at UT. And so I got a chance to take a lot of other classes like radio, film, and television and journalism. And I loved writing. So I knew that I would pursue writing in some form. And I didn't know it would bring me to screenplays, but I have always had an affinity to writing. And so now, with Las Tres Sisters and that being the first feature that I produced that I wrote, I've written about 4 screenplays, many shorts. And I think that that's a career that would make me very happy that I do simultaneously with acting, but I have been doing a lot more writing recently. So I've always known that that could be something I could go down that career path and still find a lot of joy.
Please tell me about that transition. How did it all begin with you, Virginia, and Valeria when it comes to writing? It took like a project to get the movie filmed, made, and out there.
I know. I'm trying to think. I was like, what did Valeria not tell you that I could tell you that might be interesting? Because we came into it very different ways. So it started with Virginia and Valeria as a short film that they wrote. They brought me on to direct when I was 9 months pregnant, and I wanted to stay creative. I wasn't getting roles anymore because I had this big belly, and there
Oh
were
my
very few
goodness.
for pregnant women. And I after we were done with the short, our executive producer, Gonzalo Ruiz de Velasco, who was one of the producers on, or he was involved in production with Roma, which was an Oscar winning film, and many others in Mexico, he decided to come on board and help us make it into a feature. And I knew I wanted to be a part of the feature, but I wasn't sure if I was going to direct it or I was going to act in it. And so I ended up pitching an idea to Virginia and Valeria about a pilgrimage, and that the older sister was dealing with something and needed them to walk this pilgrimage with them, because pilgrimages if your audience members aren't familiar with them, they're usually spiritual pilgrimages, and you usually walk for 6 to 7 days. You rest at hostels and different places that will house the pilgrims, because the trails are usually very familiar to people walking for their miracle. And you start with something that you hold an intention that you want a miracle for by the end, or maybe you're dealing with something you can't figure out. So I pitched that to them. They loved it. And then we hired Youssef Delara, who is a dear friend and partner of mine. We're writing several things together right now. And he wrote the first draft based on a 25-page treatment that me, Virginia, and Valeria wrote together. And after that, we came on board to partner with him and rewrite the film until it became what it is now. And yeah, 6 years of writing, 6 years of writing together. And I would say it was really fun. That's why we
Yeah.
stuck with it. It was we had such a good time writing together. It was late nights. Virginia and Valeria were very kind because sometimes we'd get started at 9. I'd say my kids are going to be in bed. So let's start at 9. And the kids were not in bed. So they'd have to wait until I got them to sleep. Sometimes it was 11. Sometimes the kids were waking up all night wanting me to come in and help them while we were trying to write in between. So maybe it was my kids that delayed,
Yeah, I know
but
how many with kids. Like I have sometimes I have my kids at home when I'm doing the podcast. They come in and
oh no.
what
Did you
the
wait? You have kids or you have
I
kids
have
that
two kids.
you
High
had
school.
two?
I have high schooler and a middle schooler.
Oh my
Mm.
gosh. Bless you. I can't wait to get there, but I also don't want them to grow up.
Yeah. Well, teenage years are not so great because there's a lot of
Oh,
I want or like mom or no direct communication. I was like, oh hi, my teenager doesn't talk to me anymore, but that's okay. She's still alive.
oh no, don't tell because right now they just want me all the time. I love this stage. Yes.
Definitely,
I like to
definitely.
be needed. I like to be needed.
When I watched the movie that when it came out on Prime Video, it reminded me so much of another movie. I tried to take in some of different culture movies, different Mexican or Latina movies just to show the point and interest. There was just one movie called Tortilla Soup, one of my favorites.
No, stop.
The Tortilla Soup. I have to talk
No.
about it. Yep.
Oh my gosh, that is such a compliment. Thank you so much. That is a wonderful film, and that film brings me so much joy. It means a lot to me to know that it impacted you in the same way because it's Tortilla Soup is one of those films you can watch over and over. And so wow. Oh, wow, I'm blown away by this compliment. Thank you so much.
No problem. I told the same thing to Valeria. I probably do the same thing with Virginia anyway. The reason why is because they talked about the sisters with their father, and this movie actually sisters talk about the pilgrimage, their connection, their bond, trying to do the pilgrimage in honor of their grandmother.
Yeah,
So it worked out both beautiful.
thank you.
So that reminds me, I will probably watch Tortilla Soup tonight, maybe.
Hey, I like it. Maybe me too. It's been a long time.
So tell me about your character, Maria. What was her struggle and her journey wanting to complete the pilgrimage, and how did she bring her two estranged sisters into the picture? And that
Yeah,
whole journey was full of laughter, grief,
yeah.
but she I loved all of it. I loved every character I met in the movie. I was just like, wow.
No,
And
thank
I'm
you.
wondering if Valeria, Marta, and Virginia connected with their culture like that as much as they are in real life, or is
Yeah.
it just a world?
I mean, thank the description that you have. I need to write this down so I can tell other people, oh, if you want to see this movie, here's the description. Thank you so much for that beautiful way of describing something. I mean, I'm still pinching myself that it's something that we've created that became a reality and that people are now watching and now I'm on your podcast. And it's so wild to me because you just interviewed a dear friend of mine, Ashley Williams, who's a Hallmark darling. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going on the same podcast as Ashley.
That
She's so amazing. I know. I know.
definitely.
I know. She's so amazing. Um, Maria. Okay, so you asked me specifically about Maria, and you told the audience who might be listening to this that she's bringing her two estranged sisters. So yes, they haven't talked in years, and she's kind of the peacemaker between the three of them. And it's based a lot on my real life. I'm the oldest of three sisters, and I have a tendency to be the peacemaker. Although my little sister right now has become such an adult. I'm 9 years older, and she is now helping as well so much to take care of our other sister who's disabled and needs a lot of help and support. And so we utilized my story to bring these other two sisters together, and a lot of ways that I've done is through love and kindness. And we brought that with Maria. Some people go, wow, she's just always so positive, and what is her struggle? But you know the journey really required a lot of hope and a lot of just glass half full and believing in miracles and believing in signs. And that's who Maria is. She's the character that really believes. And oh, I just saw your shirt, it says believe. I love it so much. And so she brings us along this journey in the movie, and without her belief, the journey would stop. It wouldn't even start. And so, no matter what hurdles she gets on the journey, she just continues to believing in signs that her grandmother, who has passed away, she was very close to her abuela, is providing signs along the way as well, and she sees them as signs. And the miracle, for the audience members who watch it, there's so many miracles that happen by the end of the movie, and part of the miracle is just getting her two sisters together who haven't seen each other or been in the same room for 5 years. And there's a lot of comedy in that. Is that she's just unapologetically positive. Just no matter whether there's we have a scene with a ranchero with a gun. And I'm not giving it too much away because it's the beginning of the movie, but after she's like, oh, we were saved by a guardian angel. So it's fun to have this, to play a character who real Marta. I am very, very positive in my life. I have a tendency to see the glass half full, which can be a good thing and sometimes a bad thing. But she does it even more so than I. And it was really, really fun for me to play parts of myself that I don't usually get to play in other parts.
Definitely. I mean, watching the movie, I could just see a lot of similarities and a lot of intuitive in the character. Like I love how Maria and Lucia and Sophia, because there's always had to be one person who take care of the family, who keep the family together. And there's always one person who's just like, I'm gonna do my own thing, fine. I wanna leave this family, this life behind and do my own thing, do my dream. And of
Yeah.
course there was another one who's always carefree, whatever comes in her way, she'll handle it, that kind of thing. Each character really brightened up and really made me think of different perspectives. I like each one of
Yeah.
them. Valeria asked me, if you were in that movie, what character reminds me more of you? I would say all of them, to be
Oh,
honest,
I love
really,
that. I
because I
love
like to
that.
keep everything organized. And I
Yeah.
like to have lists, and like to have something planned, and I don't know what to do. If something
Yeah.
happens, I have to do something, or just let it go. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't care what everybody thinks. I'm gonna do my thing. I'm gonna, whatever.
Yeah.
And we Puritan, and for my self care, my mental health, I'm like, I need to do something for me, whether
Yeah.
it's good, whether it's bad. So I
Yes.
could see myself within all these three characters in the movie.
That's amazing. I really, that's that for me when we were writing the movie. I was like, you know what? I would love for women to relate to each of these characters and go, which one am I? And like T-shirts that say like Maria, Sophia, Lucia, which and people could really relate. That was in my visions of grandeur, my visions of seeing our movie just become this cult film where people can relate to these women. But I'm so happy that you related to all three. You'd have all three of our faces on your T-shirt.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So tell me, were there any challenges when it came to filming that movie within like the timeline or the location or even the people in
Yeah.
the village?
Yeah. Well, I recently directed a short film as part of Sony International and Women in Film and Broken English Productions. And they funded it to get more women behind the camera. And I had like 3 locations over 2 days. It was a lot of pages for 2 days, but um, at the end of the film, I said, I have a lot of respect for our director, Mar Novo, who directed our film, Las Tres Sisters, because we had sometimes 5 locations in one day. We were a traveling road trip movie.
Hmm.
There was I mean, we were just a production that was always on the road. So I would say I enjoyed myself in the filming the entire time. The challenges for me were before and after, because that's where I came on as the producer, and I was just the actor getting taken care of the entire film. We brought on another producer to help us while we filmed, so we could just be the actors. And but I have mad respect because I know they had a lot of challenges on the road. But for us, I would say the challenges that I experienced the most was just getting the funding for the film. Because normally with an independent film, you need some major celebrity at least to get funding. And we didn't get Cristo Fernandez, who is our celebrity, till after we were funded. And so we would get funding. First, Sony wanted to make the film, or they were interested. And then it was another production company was interested. And then that funding fell through. And when we finally got funding, and we started filming, we knew that it was really going to happen. And I would say that was probably the biggest challenge in getting an independent film made. But in the post, we lost funding. We needed more funding. So it was constantly like, if I want to finish the film, where am I going to get the money for the film? My husband and I invested in the film to help finish the edit. And then we were applied for a grant with La Leaf, and they gave us money to help with other post production needs. We brought on Cristo Fernandez, brought on Ted Lasso and their post production team to help us finish. And we mixed the sound at Universal Studios, which would have cost a lot of money, but there was a writer's strike and people were looking for things to do. And so we were very lucky because even though things were a huge challenge, we had a lot of help along the way. And so, yeah, I think the funding, and I think it was also just keeping your momentum and keeping your energy going for the project, keeping your spark alive when so many years are passing to believe that it was actually going to happen, and so I'm glad that we kept our hope alive.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I could not believe that how sometimes movie take years to make or 15 days like a typical Hallmark movie, but with this kind of movie that's related with tradition or culture or now broadcast in like for Latino, Mexican, or some culture, whatever you call it. So
Yeah,
I believe in it. Take a
yeah,
small project and try
yeah,
to turn it into a big thing. I did a lot of
yeah,
promos between social
yeah,
media. So I would try to
yeah.
like, share them. That, oh, you need to check this out. I'm like, oh, yeah, enjoying the definitely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We've needed, the one thing with like a studio film or even a Hallmark film, which is a studio film because they have the big Hallmark engine behind them, but I would say is that you have people doing all the roles. So you have somebody doing marketing, you have somebody doing the pre-production and financing, you have somebody doing legal and contracts, you have somebody selling it and distributing it. With an independent film, you have us doing everything. We're talking to the attorneys. We're like, oh, did we get this insurance? Oh, did we get all the contracts from all the extras? Did we have to like have a social media marketing plan. Oh, let's look at some of the big studios. How do they do it? Okay, let's mimic that. Oh, we got to put down time aside days to film the social media together. And they say independent film, you have to have a lot of passion because really that's what's feeding you because it's not a financially big payout in the beginning. If you do, there is a market for independent film. If you do several, then you can start making some money as it's out there and you're licensing them. But it's not a lot of money especially you're making your first independent film. It's a lot of heart and it's a lot of work and you're doing all the hats. You're wearing all of them. Somebody said you're wearing all the shoes because you're like running with the film. So yeah, it's been a lot of joy and a lot of passion, and it's built my confidence a lot in this industry. Like I'm in Hollywood, but in my own way.
how did Adam Mayfield get roped up into that trade that besides Billy Virginia's husband? I'm just like, how did he get into it? And I know I've heard a little bit story from Valeria
Yes.
about you and Adam portrayed a married couple on the film, so I'm curious how that fun dynamic was on the filming.
Well, what's great is that he and I already have a lot of chemistry because we're dear friends and I care for him so much. It was actually my suggestion. I said, can Adam should play Harold, which is my husband's name, Harold. And Virginia was like, oh, that would be great. And we're all excited and we put him in all of our marketing materials to like pitch the film. And oh, we have this amazing guy attached who just worked with Christian Bale. And then it was getting close to filming and I started to feel weird. I was like, wait a second. I have to kiss my friend's husband. And yes, we're actors, but it is a reality. I was like, this is a little bit awkward for me. Let me call Virginia and talk it through. So I called her and I said, hey, I wanted to talk to you about Adam and my role. And I said, I'm feeling a little bit weird that I'm going to actually kiss him, and I know we're professionals. And she just started laughing. She goes, Marta, are you kidding me? She's like, you're the first person I would trust to do a scene with my husband, and it's such an exciting honor. And I thought, okay, I feel a little better. But then, when it was time to film and we were on set, she was there behind the camera and we're doing our scene where we're romantic, and she's just smiling with this big smile at us, and I thought, I feel so weird. And I just said, Virginia, you're going to have to leave. I just can't, I'm sorry. And then Valeria was watching and she goes, wait, Marta, you're kissing him like he's your brother. I need you to like really kiss him. And so it took a little bit of finagling. I didn't realize like doing a film with someone who was really a dear friend, because you put them in that brother category, would really come across on screen. But finally we got there and we got into our characters. You had to go back into my actor mind, not Marta's brain, and go, this is my husband and I love him and this is our history together. So I had to work a little harder than normal.
But I really good. I like the dynamic that I was trying to rock them. I'm like, okay, they're the couple in real life, and they're the
Yeah,
couple in the movie. Okay,
yeah,
we should
yeah.
see how it worked out. But then, but overall, I mean, it blown really well. It's just a beautiful story, and I love
Thank
how
you.
all of the characters were able to connect and their chemistry or their on-screen chemistry was just amazing.
There's a plane going overhead. 1 second. Hold for sound.
It's
I
okay.
think
I
we're good.
have a trailer by
I
my
think we're
house,
good.
and the
Okay, good.
train sometimes goes by with the train. I'm like, hold on, the train's got to pass through. Okay, keep going.
Keep going. So what's interesting too about that is that, and it's a beautiful gesture of love. My husband did the composition of the film. He was the film composer. And for our scene, he had to watch the scene where I'm kissing Adam, Harold and Maria's scene over and over. And he came up with this beautiful love song for me while watching me kiss this other man. But it was so beautiful. I said, baby, this is so sweet. He's like, this is the theme for you, Maria. I'm writing your theme. And then we used it throughout the film for beautiful love moments. We even used it for Valeria and Cristo in their love moments. And so I would say I was like, we were really professional. I was like, wow, look at us, me and my husband and Ryan and Adam. But it really was. It became a love story of between sisters, between the other romantic partners in the film, between Virginia's character Sophia and her mother, and just a healing love.
Yeah. There was the question. Oh, do you have any favorite moment or favorite scene in the movie that you really enjoy making?
Favorite moments in the film that I enjoyed making. I would have to say, even though it was so cold, it was so, so cold. It was one of our last weeks of filming. I got to do a scene with my son. So my son at the time was 6 years old, and there's a scene in the cemetery where there's two my real son in real life. There were two Dia de los Muertos kids dressed up as like skeletons, which they do during Dia de los Muertos, and he was so excited to be in the movie with me, and he's so proud of it. But it got really late. It was past his bedtime. It was probably 6 degrees, and he was cold, and everybody was cold, and it was nighttime, and he can't see really well because he's got night blindness. And I was so worried as a mom. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this, and he's having to do this scene. But he was still so proud to be in it, and I felt so proud as a mother. And there was a moment where there was a picture because we were in a cemetery. There was a portrait of Jesus, and it was lit up over a plot. And because he didn't know where to run, I said, "Can we set up over here?" And I'll just yell at him to run towards Jesus. And so we set up the camera. We had him run a few times because he had to run off the camera because he's running away because he has this locket. And I yelled, when the director yelled action, I would say, "Run to Jesus, baby, run to Jesus." And he would run his little heart to me and he would jump into my arms and I would hold him and he'd go, "Mommy, I ran to Jesus. I ran to Jesus." And I held him and he was so proud. And it was just probably, I would think that this is my movie and I'm so proud of all these moments, but as a mother, you just can't help it. I was so proud of him and I feel so happy to know that my son got a chance to be in a film with me. And he tells everybody.
Of course. 15 minutes of fame. You gotta
Yeah.
tell somebody. Now, I'm curious about the scene when you were in the hot tent, the sweaty tent. So please,
Oh, yes.
yeah, so please tell me about that. For some reason, I'm so curious how that scene played out. Was it hot? Was it cold out? And how everybody was able to be in there. And it was just like a mental breakdown in everybody. I was trying not to laugh at everybody. Okay, this
I
is a little bit
mean,
much. I need to pause for a moment, walk away, and come back and just walk. I'm laughing at Tim. I'm laughing at Lucia. I'm laughing at Sophia. I'm laughing at Maria. I'm just like, okay, what is going on? I know is part of a spiritual tradition or culture
yeah.
for Mexican and down south. So I wanted to know more about that scene. How did it turn out for each of you?
I mean, listen, we first wrote that scene. We wanted a spiritual moment to show, parts of the Mexican culture. And in the beginning, the scene was written with a woman who was doing a limpia, which is it's a cleaning where they take like eggs and they smash them on your head and they take like a tree branch and they clean like the spirits out of you. And like this was Maria needed to go have a limpia. And we did that for a while. And then at some point, um, Virginia had been doing a lot of temescales. They're called temescals. It's a sweat lodge, a spiritual sweat lodge. And we somehow, I don't know who pitched the idea, but we decided to do this to mezcal in the film because we thought visually, we kept saying like, how can we visually show the spirituality of the Mexican culture in a fun way or in a great way? And we wrote it this way, but we thought it was going to be a very dramatic scene. We thought it was going to be a heavy scene for these girls where, they're saying their real thoughts about each other. They're dealing with their real demons. They're dealing with their fears. Cristo's dealing with the loss of his wife. So for us as writers, we wrote it very heavy, very dramatic. And then we did an actual real temescal. Again, for those who don't know, it looks like an igloo and it can be made out of brick. It could be made out of stone. It can be made out of cloth and wood. And you have a shaman, they call them shamanas. They're spiritual teachers, and they do a ceremony for you. And you don't take drugs. It's not like it, although it might look like it in the movie that we're on drugs because it's so crazy. But you deal with heat. They bring in these what they call abuelitas, little grandmothers. They're hot rocks. They're coming from a fire, and when they put them down inside, it creates this thick air where you can almost not breathe. And so you have to go into yourself spiritually to like know that you're still breathing, you're going to be okay, and you're dealing with whatever inside you need to release. I did a real one, and it was very hard. It was 3 hours, and it was very spiritual, and it was beautiful. But the one in the film, which wasn't really hot because you have a camera that, has a lens, and if you put real steam in there, it's going to steam up the lens and you won't be able to see what's going on. So it was, in actuality, it was very, very cold, and there was mosquitoes all swarming around us the entire time. And so we were getting bit. We had these flies and mosquitoes everywhere, and we had to focus on the scene, and we had to pretend that we were super hot. In between, we were going like this. Ooh. And so as we were filming, though, and we were going through the scene, the Sophia and Lucia's character, they're talking about why they are estranged, and our mother was in a car accident, and Sophia was the driver, and she was drinking, and that was based on something that happened with me and my sister. I was the drunk driver, and my sister was in the car with me, and I was 19 and she was 15. And it's a story that I've carried with me for a long time, and a trauma. And we decided to put it in the movie because we wanted to have the girls fight over something that wasn't a guy, that wasn't like stereotypical. We wanted it to be a story about something that needed to be healed. And so as they were fighting, I was crying and crying and crying, and really releasing this real trauma that was in my body. And when the scene was done and I left, I felt like this release, which is so crazy. And I had been trying to also write that story for a long time. And as that story, as I wrote it over the years about me and my sister, Hallmark ended up buying it. And so that, which is how I know Ashley. And Hallmark is producing the story about me and my sister in a car accident, and we'd been waiting for it to get greenlit. And we're so I'm sorry I'm digressing, but it has to do with the scene, the temescal in the movie. So when I walk out of the temescal and I go sit in my chair, and nobody has reception because we're in the middle of nowhere, my phone rings, and it's an executive from Hallmark telling me they're going to greenlight the movie about me and my sister. And everybody goes, "Wait, is your phone working?" I said, "Yes, I'm sorry, I got to take this call." And I couldn't believe it. It was like I needed to release the guilt and the trauma around it in order to let the story go forward. And so the scene in the movie, yes, we're acting, but I was going through something real. And I was able to release it. And even Cristo was like, he went through a lot of real stuff, and he was crying and releasing a bunch of stuff. So when we actually edited the scene and we saw it later, we were all cracking up because we were going through so much, but it is the funniest scene to me in the movie. I mean, it is comedy gold. And it was a reminder that comedy, if you play the truth really deeply with high stakes, it will land, and it will be funny. But yes, I'm sorry. Long story about that scene, but that scene means so much to me. So much happened because of it.
Yeah, definitely. Because I know I've seen some different cultural movies or traditional movies. I could see sometimes they use like a theme hunt or whatever just to get all of the negative, all of the bad news out so you can feel better and light and renewed. So I was
Yeah.
watching that and I was like thinking to myself, I'm like, hot there, cold there. I mean, how did they do this? I mean, character on each action was fighting their own story. So I was just like, okay, this is a bit much. So I had to pick the brain about how
Yeah.
the scene
Yeah.
happened and how it worked. But it was just a really private scene of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
movie. As the movie started to go wrap up toward to the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much. It was really important to show the culture of Mexico and things that people never see. And so that's how the Temescal ended up in the movie, because it was, and a lot of people have never seen that. And for us, that was really exciting to do something new for audiences, and especially the US audience.
Definitely. What next for you? What after that trade? Did you have another project coming up alone? or any more project coming up with Virginia, Ballerina, in movies, in writing? What next?
I mean, that's always the question because I'm always developing so many things at once. And right now we're developing Las Tres Sisters, the TV series. And I'm excited to see if that takes off. We've had some interest with Eva Longoria's company, Hyphenate Media. They were interested for a while. You know, we're going to circle back to the people that have seen the film now that it's out because the feature is basically an IP. It's this story that can be packaged in so many different ways, and so I'm excited about the possibility of that. We're excited, and then with Virginia, actually, on Wednesday or coming up this week, I wrote a play about Dr. Ellen Ochoa, the first Latina astronaut, because I'm involved with an organization that brings theater to our underserved communities, mainly Latino communities here in Los Angeles. And so we bring professional theater, and I wanted to bring a hero to them so they can see themselves and aspire to be, you know, in STEM and math and anything that their wildest hearts wanted. And then I directed a short film called I Child with Sony and Women in Film and Broken English. And I'm developing that into a feature right now that I'm planning to direct, as well as a web series. I'm doing a web series. I decided I wanted to go direct to the market, direct to an audience, and wanted to write about my life as a mother and an artist. And Virginia's also in it. Her work as a tantra healer. I wanted to talk about that. And that's with my partner, Yusef Delara. And so that web series, I'm hoping to start filming this fall and drop about 30 episodes and, you know, see what audiences think, you know, and talk back and forth. Because with independent film, you don't get to talk to your audiences unless you're in the theater with them or you get a text from a friend who saw something streaming. So I'm excited to go direct. And then, of course, Hallmark is my baby. It's called Feliz Navidad. It's a Christmas drama, and it's a movie about me and my sister and an accident that happened to us, which I mentioned before. But instead of a drunk driving accident, it's a snow accident, and just the healing that Christmas brings. That the traditions of Las Posadas, which is a tradition in Mexico and many parts of America and Latin America. And you know, just bring new traditions to Hallmark that they haven't portrayed before through Christmas. And so there's so many things happening. I just, you know, but mostly I'm trying to get through the summer with my two kids.
Yeah, definitely. I know how you feel. I'm trying to get through the summer with my kids, actively, with my podcasting, with my dog,
I
and with
know.
writing my book. I'm
Yeah.
almost there. Yeah, yes, I'm writing a book
Congratulations.
about my life. So I've been working on it for almost a year and a half. So I'm
Oh my
trying to
God.
finish. I'm trying to finish by the end of this year so I could possibly sign a contract with that editor to get going with my book. So yeah, I know how you feel. More projects are coming up, and I'm trying to start a screenplay for Hallmark too. So
Wait, what?
please, yeah, I'm trying.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Congratulations. Oh my gosh, this is very exciting.
so I
I
hope
am
these
so happy.
projects we talked about give you all of the green light and give you all of the opportunity to open up barriers and to open up doors with Latino women, especially in movie business and directing business and writing. So I hope all of that goes well.
Thank you. Thank you for you as well. For you as well. And you have a fan. I'll be following everything that you do and cheering you on.
Definitely. Last question. I want you to, if you have anything to say about the purpose of Last Train Sisters and why people or family or anybody should tune in and watch that movie.
Well, if somebody wants to laugh and cry and feel good and enjoy themselves and be entertained, they should turn on our film. And if they want to watch something that is unique that they haven't seen before, I think they should turn on our film. But mostly, if you're trying to forgive, I think this film might help you. Their theme of forgiveness is very strong in this film, and if there's a relationship that needs healing, if there is a sibling or a friend or a parent I think if you watch our film, it might help. It might help you feel empowered to either forgive or empowered to let go. So I think for many reasons, but for that alone, please stream our film. It's on Amazon Prime, it's on Apple, it's on Fandango now, and I also on demand. On demand, there are several ways to watch it. But if you Google Las Las Tres Tres Sisters on how to watch, you'll be able to find it, or follow us on Las Tres Sisters movie on Instagram.
Do you have a favorite Hallmark movie if you ever watch Hallmark?
Oh my gosh.
You can couple name
Um,
of blue.
Let me think. There was one that I just saw, and it was about a girl who had been fostered. She was adopted. Oh my gosh. What is the title? Hold on. Can I look at the title real quick?
Yeah, of course you
I'm gonna
can.
find the
No
title for
problem.
you because I want to say the title. I just saw it. Um, oh,
I'm trying to think because I normally watch Hallmark, so I'm trying to think.
hold on. I have it. I have it. Once Upon a Christmas Miracle. Wait, no, no.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. Sorry, that's a really good one. Hold on. They have and five more minutes, another good one. Um oh, there's a couple of them. Okay, Once Upon a Christmas Miracle was really, really good. I really, really liked that one. Um it was it was about like this girl had 6 months to live and she needed a new liver. And she was and the whole town came behind her. um it's like if I'm going to,
It's a,
she said, if I'm going
it's
to
a
die, then I'm
November
going to make this
Christmas.
the best Christmas ever.
Was it like
Huh?
November Christmas? Some girl with a cancer or liver transplant. I think it was like
Oh, I thought it was
November
once upon
something.
what they you know what, they probably have a few, but this one is called Once Upon a Christmas Miracle. And I don't know, there was something about it, maybe it was the actress. I don't know. She was so amazing, and I just really felt like she was letting go. It was the theme about death. I think is something that I probably deal with a lot. But she was letting go of not having the life that she thought she was going to live, and making the best of the time she had left. And it was one of the most beautiful Christmases. And I was like, could I just live every day like that? You know, it was really inspiring. I loved that one. Yeah. What about you?
I have a handful of them, but my
Ah!
most favorite Hallmark movie in general will be It Was Always You with Aaron
Oh.
Krakow and Tyler Hynes.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I need to, yeah, we should have a Hallmark podcast conversation at some point.
Yeah, definitely. Me and me with the other girl. Come on, we could talk about nothing but Hallmark because I've seen it all. I've seen
Yes,
it all.
that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I'm excited about the one that you're writing. And if I can help in any way, let me know.
Definitely. I usually wrap up the podcast episode, and if there's time, I turn over to my guest if they have any comments or questions they want to say before we close.
Comments or questions? Well, I'm sure the audience, this is all about movies, right? And people who are working in the entertainment industry. For those who might want to break into the industry, um, my advice, I would like to just like let them know to go ahead and write whatever idea it is that they want to write. To go ahead and just write it, and that will open up any door that they need. They don't need the door open before they start writing. And if they don't know how to do it, join a class. There's so many great ones out there. I hired for my first draft, my first outline for Hallmark. I hired a Hallmark writer to consult me. So if you need to hire someone to help you get through that first draft, um, do it. Anybody, if you have a story to tell, please tell it. I want to hear everyone's stories, and I want them to get out there. And I know what it is to carry a story and want to tell it so bad, but to stop yourself from doing it. I encourage you to just sit down and do it.
Thank you. Thank you for all of the comments and advice. Well, to close off the cat chat, I really appreciate you, Marta, for finding the time to come on to the cat chat and tell your side of the experience of making life trade different.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure. And you're so amazing. I had such a great time. I can't wait to follow you and please, please stay in touch.
Definitely, I will share your episode and Valeria's episode to both of you right before they're aired. I'd be happy to share them with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I
Have a
appreciate
great
you.
afternoon.
You too.
Bye
All right.
bye.
Bye.